Balinese is not Indian book. Part 18 is complete. Santo Saba works. Made as a discourse to scientists based on academic studies and studies. In an effort to restore the true history of Indonesia. Misunderstanding about the Vaishnava Buyanga Sanggu. Title: Buyanga Vaishnava and Sang Trini. Author of the book: Doctorandus. GDE Sara Sastra, MC. Thickness: plus 272 pages. Publisher: Pustaka Bali Post. This book may be a revision of misinterpretation due to incomplete information. Until now, there are still many people who do not know clearly about the clerical status of Hindus in Bali. A number of examples can be cited, namely that there are still many people who think that the Pandita who follows the sect, Shiva, is only a pedanta, Haranda. Likewise, Isengu is often equated with the title Ida Buyanga, which has the title Sengahu Buyanga. The culprit for this misunderstanding was the act of Ikelik, who wanted to pass a large ceremony held by the king, even though he was not a Pandita. During the reign of Dalem Wadarangong, there is an interesting story. One day, Dalem held a large ceremony. To close the ceremony, Dalem invited Danghyang Narartha, who also had the title Ida Pedanta Sakti Wawura'a. When the king's envoy arrived at Pasraman, there was only Ikelik, Danghyang Narartha's loyal servant. The messenger of Dalem mistook Ikelik as a Pandita and asked to be willing to close the ceremony. Ikelik, who was thought to be a Pandita, was actually happy to accept the invitation. He looked very confident, because he also memorized a lot of mantras and also knew the procedures for passing ceremonies. The knowledge and skills he got from Danghyang Narartha. While I was having fun with Ikelik Mamuha, suddenly came Danghyang Narartha, the Pandita who was supposed to be missing the ceremony. Danghyang Narartha and Dalem Wadarangong were both surprised. Feeling cheated, Dalem Wadarangong was furious and drove Ikelik out and was even given a death sentence. But thanks to Danghyang Narartha's loving nature, Ikelik survived the death sentence. Dalem granted forgiveness for Danghyang Narartha's request. Because he was mistaken or touched as a Pandita, Ikelik was renamed to Isenga, which gradually became Isengu. Much later, Ikelik was even given the right to carry out his duties as a Pandita who understood the universe, as did Ida Buyanga. However, in society, it seems that the term, Senga, is equated with Sangahu, more so for people who do not do further research. This assumption is clearly erroneous and psychologically unfavorable. In this book, it is explained that the term Sangahu Buyanga does not come from the word Senga, because the meaning is much different. As this book writes, page 118, the word stirrup comes from 1. Sanguhung or Sanguwang. 2. The teacher. Likewise, the residents of Buyanga Vaishnava are not Saro Sengu. An explanation of this is contained in chapter 3. The book, which consists of 6 chapters, in addition to trying to correct this misunderstanding, also discusses the emergence of sects in Hinduism, the notion of the Vaishnava sect and its history of development from the Vedic scriptures, the Sutra and Brahman period, the Upanishad, Isahasa, Purana, Vedanta, until its development in Indonesia, including Bali. There is also an explanation of the Babad Warga Buyanga Vaishnava, an analysis of Moksa, temples which are closely related to the arrival of Maha Rsi Markandeya and Rsi Vaishnava, as well as the existence of Buyanga Vaishnava residents in Bali. No less interesting, this book also explains the meaning of the Trini and the position of Buyanga Vaishnava in Sang Trini. It was explained that Sang Trini is a Shivastic concept which consists of 3 elements, namely Shiva, Sada Shiva and Parama Shiva. The 3 Pandita groups consist of 1. The element of Shiva, which was later called the Brahmana Shiva. 2. Elements of Sada Shiva, then called Sang Bada Dan. 3. The Parama Shiva element is then called the Buyanga. These 3 pandas were later called Sang Trini or Tri-Sadaka, which means 3 Panditas who are members of the concept of Shiva Siddhanta, page 173. This book, apart from being worth listening to by the people of Buyanga Vaishnava, is of course also very important to be studied by researchers or academics. Social researchers or sociology of religion and Hindu theology will get information about the development of Hinduism in Bali, especially about Buyanga Vaishnava and Sang Trini, which are part of the Indonesian Saiwa Siddhanta concept. In addition, Readers are also given information about a number of lontars which contain various things. This information will be felt important if someone wants to investigate further about the lontar, for example for writing scientific papers, be it a thesis, or even a dissertation. There is also a pedigree of the birth of the Waisnawa Buyanga citizen. This book is also equipped with a number of photos of the Panditas from the Buyanga Waisnawa residence. A number of bell shapes and the unique means used by Ida Rsi Buyanga Waisnawa also decorate this book. For example, there are Uter bells, clapper, and others that are not widely known by the people. Thus, the presence of this book not only adds to Hindu literature, but also becomes an interesting reading and reference for students or researchers in conducting research on the sociology of religion. Source: Balapost. Swastika symbol which previously existed in the archipelago. Let us examine and study the swastika symbol, which proves that this symbol is the basis for the original teachings of the archipelago, especially the teachings recorded in Balinese culture or the teachings that color and even underlie the teachings that exist in India and even in almost all corners of the earth ever existed. The swastika has been used as a decorative element in various cultures since at least Neolithic times in the human age civilizations. It is known most widely as an important symbol, long used in Indian religions, meaning luck. The swastika was adopted by several organizations in pre-World War I Europe and later, and most notably, by the Nazi Party in Nazi Germany before World War II. The swastika is known outside the Indian subcontinent as Hakenkreuz, Gamadian, Crampone, Croix Gamme, Filfot, or Tetrascalion with the character form Wan or Wan, is an ancient religious symbol thought to have originated in the Indian subcontinent. The author is going to explain that the swastika originated from the previous Indonesian archipelago which is now perfectly recorded in Bali. This is the symbol of original Dharmic teachings, which generally takes the form of an equilateral cross with 4 legs angled each at 90 degrees. It is considered a sacred and auspicious symbol of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism and is thought to have been in use for about 11,000 years. It continues to be commonly used as a symbol of indigenous religions in the Indian subcontinent, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. The older Western literature for the swastika symbol, the line Gamadian, derives from the appearance of the shape which is identical to the 4 Greek letters gamma joined together. Swastika name in Sanskrit, said svastika, shows the meaning of an object. Lucky or profitable. Svastika is a compound from sva which means alone. Astika itself is a compound of the word asti which means being, or being, and ka, which indicates gender neutrality. Thus, the literal meaning of is one that exists by itself, or there alone. In other words, not born and directly from eternity to exist and be eternal. Monier Williams finds its origins in the Vedic swastika word. As noted in his Sanskrit-English dictionary, Alexander Cunningham is a monogram formed by a braid of letters from the magical Su Asti Svasti, written in Ashokan characters. The European hypothesis about the swastika is generally thought of as having a connection with the symbol of the cross, such as the pagan Bronze Age sun cross. Outside of the existence of the proto-writing form of symbols appearing as in the Vinca manuscript, which appeared in the Neolithic era, it is also still considered that irrelevance is known about the origin of this symbol. There are a number of speculative hypotheses that the symbol of the cross and the swastika of various origins have been found to originate only in the same source and as a symbolic form of the sun. Another hypothesis is that the 4 arms of the cross represent the 4 aspects of nature: sun, wind, water, land. Some say 4 arms cross the 4 seasons, in which the division for sections 90 degrees corresponds to the solstices and equinoxes. In Hindu philosophy, it can represent it, which is a symbol of Lord Vishnu. This brought great importance in establishing the creation of the universe, and the arm as a kal, or time, a calendar which is seen as more advanced than the lunar calendar in which to calculate calendar years. In prehistoric research, the earliest swastika-like symbols are known to date from about 10,000 to 13,000 BC. This is thought to have existed at the end of the Paleolithic. The swastika insignia is found on a bird-shaped artifact, engraved on a mammoth tusk found in Mezene, Ukraine. The bird was found with a number of phallic objects which are thought to be swastika patterns used as a symbol of fertility. But there is also a conclusion that this swastika may be a picture of a crane in a flying position. The widespread use of the swastika can be traced to ancient India, during the Indus Valley Civilization. In England, carved stone Neolithic or Bronze Age symbols have been found on Ilkley moors. Swastika, clockwise and anti-clockwise, have been found on ceramic pottery in Davedishka Cave, Bulgaria, dated 6000 BC. A hypothesis put forward by IIT Kharagpur in India states that the swastika symbol migrated from ancient India to America via the Tartar-Mongoloid Kamchatka route some 11,000 years ago, explaining the symbol's presence in the Aztec and Mayan civilizations, and via the western land route to Finland, Scandinavia, England, Highlands and Europe where symbols are present in various forms of the cross. According to Joy Sen, after dividing the world into the 9 quadrants where the swastika moved from India, we found traces of her journey and have been able to prove our claim through ancient seals, inscriptions, and traces of religious symbolism in these countries. Some of the earliest archaeological evidence of the swastika in the Indian continent dates to 3000 BC. Swastikas have also been found on pottery in archaeological excavations in Africa, in the Kush area and in pottery at Jebel Barkal temples, in Iron Age designs from the northern Caucasus Koban culture, and in Neolithic Chinese at Majabang, Majayao, Dawenko and Shaohayan. Other attestations of the Iron Age swastika can be attributed to Indo-European cultures such as Indo-Iranian, Celtic, Greek, German and Slavic peoples. The swastika was also seen in Egypt during the Coptic period. The textile motif T231-1923 at the V&A Museum in London includes a small swastika in design. This fragment was found at Qaul Kebir, near Asayat, and is thought to have existed between AD 300–600. Tierwirbel, German for animal whorl, or animal vortex, is a distinctive motif in the Asian Bronze Age, the Eurasian steppe, and later also in the Iron Age Scythian and European, Baltic and German cultures, which denote rotational symmetrical arrangements of the motifs. Animals, often the 4 birds' heads. This development is even more widely considered to have originated from Asiatics, moving to the Pacific and even North America, especially Moundville. Jainism gives a more prominent meaning to the swastika emblem as Tantra Nath than Buddhism. It is the symbol of the 7 Tirthankaras, Suparsvanatha. In the Svetambara tradition, also one of the Amagalas. All Jain temples and scriptures are abundant with the swastika emblem, and the ceremony usually begins and ends by creating a swastika sign several times with rice around the altar. The swastika symbol in East Asia was used, at least since the Liao dynasty, 907–1125 AD, as part of the Chinese writing system, Wan, and variant characters for Wan in Mandarin, male in Korean, Cantonese, and Japanese, Van in Vietnamese meaning all, or immortality. The swastika marks the beginning of many Buddhist scriptures. In East Asian countries, the left-facing character is often used as a symbol for Buddhism and marks the location of a Buddhist temple. In China, Japan, and Korea the swastika is also a homonym of the number 10,000, and is generally used to represent the whole of creation, in Tao Te Ching. During the Chinese Tang dynasty, Empress Wu Zetian, 684–704, determined that the swastika would also be used as an alternative symbol of the sun. Jain rituals use rice to make a swastika in front of the statue and then place the victim on it, usually ripe or dry fruit, sweet or coins or currency with notes. The shape of the 4 arms of the swastika symbolizes the 4 places where the soul can be reborn in the cycle of birth and death: Svarga, heaven; Naraka, hell; Manushya, humanity; or Triyancha, flora or fauna, before the soul attains moksha, salvation, as Siddha, having ended the cycle of birth and death and becoming or leading to the omniscience. The Nazi Party, Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei or NSDAP, officially adopted the swastika, in German, Hakenkreuz pronounced more or less, Hahknkroits, in 1920. It is used on party flags, badges, and bracelets. In 1925, Adolf Hitler wrote his work, Mein Kampf, has put a final form. Flag with a red, white background and a black swastika in the center in a swastika shape. When Hitler created the Nazi Party flag, he attempted to combine the two swastikas as an expressive symbol of our tribute to the glorious past and which once brought so much honor to the German people. Red, white, and black are the colors of the old German imperial flag. He also stated, "As National Socialists, we see our program on our flags. In red, we see the notion of a social movement. In white, nationalist idea. At the swastika, the mission of the struggle for Arya's victory. Human beings, and, in a similar way, the triumph of the idea of creative work." The swastika is also understood as a symbol of creating, influencing life, Rasabazeichen das Symbol des Schaffenden, Workenden Lebens, and as a symbolic race of Germanism, des Germanentums. José Manuel Urbez says, "The first time the swastika was used with the meaning of Aryan was on December 25, 1907, when it was named the New Order of Templars, a secret society founded by Adolf Joseph Georg Lanz von Liebenfels, raised in Werfenstein Castle, Austria, the flag yellow with a swastika and 4 fleur-de-lis. Swastika. The original shape of the swastika symbol is 2 vertical and horizontal lines crossing equilateral, perpendicular in the middle plus. As a cultural art creation that is always developing, swastika has also developed so that it has become various forms. This is the source and origin of the swastika symbol, which actually originates from the previous Indonesian archipelago, which until now is perfectly preserved in Balinese culture. Swastika describes the harmony of the rotation of the universe with all its romance, dynamics and dialectics. This essentially shows the greatness of Sang Hyang Wittiwasa as the creator. The word swastika means safety or welfare. The vertical lines show the harmony of the relationship between humans and their creator, namely Sang Hyang Wittiwasa, while the horizontal lines show the harmony of human relationships with each other, including the relationship between humans and nature. If the relationship between humans and their creators and the relationship between humans and their environment is harmonious, then humans will get safety and prosperity. Safety and well-being are the essence of religious goals. The 4 lines at the ends of the vertical line and the horizontal line show the direction of rotation of the swastika, which is rotating to the right. So the swastika also describes motion, namely the motion of the universe rotating to the right. The swastika is a symbol that is also used by Hindus. The cross symbol in Hinduism is the basic framework of one of the symbols of Hinduism, namely the swastika. The symbol used by Hindus originating from India is based on the symbol that first existed in the archipelago, namely the Lemuria civilization era, then Atlantis, which is still recorded in Balinese culture. The teachings are original Dharmic. This does not mean it is true, as is the general opinion so far, that the culture or symbol of the swastika in Bali is from the civilization in India. We can understand from the complete information below about the swastika symbol, which may not be as complete as the description of this symbol outside Bali. The word swastika comes from a word consisting of su, osti, ka. Su means good, congratulations. Osti means rahayu, while the suffix ka is to form an adjective into a noun. So the swastika is a symbol of safety and well-being. The sacred symbol used as an antidote to avoid all obstacles. In Hindu philosophy, the swastika is one of the most sacred symbols, signs, in the Hindu tradition, is a clear example of a religious symbol that has a complex historical and cultural background so that it is almost impossible to declare it as a creation or belonging to a particular nation or belief. Swastika is a form of geometric prayer to the supreme power to be given wealth, pleasure, happiness and prosperity in all things. Swastika. Swastika is a symbol of prosperity. Literature underlines that the swastika is a symbol of the goddess of prosperity, Ma Lakshmi. Because Dewi Lakshmi is Sakti Vishnu, where the sign also begs for his grace. Swastika is closely related to Swastyastu, which is one of the symbols for the teachings of Dharma, which is the basis for the strength and welfare of Wana Aging macrocosmos and Wana Elit microcosmos. The shape of this swastika is made in such a way that it resembles a galaxy or a collection of stars on the horizon, which is the basis of the force of this natural rotation. This natural condition has been known to our ancestors since time immemorial, and this swastika symbol has existed for thousands of years before Christ. The swastika is believed to be one of the oldest symbols in the world, having existed around 4,000 years ago, based on findings from a tomb in Alacahoyuk, Turkey. Various variations of the swastika can be found in archaeological remains, coins, ceramics, weapons, jewelry or altars. Religious, which is spread over a very wide geographical area. The geographical area includes Turkey, Greece, Crete, Cyprus, Italy, Persia, Egypt, Babylon, Mesopotamia, India, Tibet, China, Japan, Scandinavian and Slavic countries, Germany to America. This proves that the swastika symbol did not originate in India as has been assumed so far, that the religion in Bali is Hinduism from India. Not. Balinese teachings and culture are the original teachings of the archipelago originating from here. These teachings are not Hindu teachings from India, but Hindu teachings in India originated from the previous Indonesian archipelago. Swastika from the sign plus at the ends are given a short horizontal line. In Bali, the popular swastika symbol with the term Tapak Dara is used in various traditional rituals. The meaning of the Tapak Dara symbol plus swastika carvings on Sungkul T. Angga at Banjar House in South Kalimantan are various models of swastika symbols, evidence that this symbol is the original symbol of the original teachings of the archipelago. In the Ganesha Purana it is said that the swastika is a symbol of Lord Ganesha. This symbol must be made before engaging in a good activity. It has the power to remove all obstacles. Those who ignore will fail. Because it is accustomed to start with the swastika symbol, while in Rigveda it is explained that the swastika is a symbol of the solar god, symbolizing the path of the sun, namely as a symbol of eternal motion, which appears from the apparent movement of the sun from east to west. This motion of the sun is visible, because the earth rotates on its axis from left to right, Pradakshina, then evolves around the sun from west to east, so that the sun is seen moving from east to west. If we look at the swastika as the universal lotus chakra, Buana Aging, that rotates as in human life, Buana Alit. The spirit of the universe itself is Hyang Widi, God Almighty, which is symbolized by the swastika. Whereas in his created being, his spirit is the Atman, because in fact Brahman and Atman are identical. Atman is part of the holy spark, only a ray of light from the Brahman sun. In this cycle, we recognize dualisms that we cannot deny, such as Purusa Prakrti, morning evening, day night, life death, present past, male female and so on. This paired nature, in Bali is called a concept. Rwa Binata, as the rotating power of this universe. The nature of this Binata Rwa continues to rotate and so on, which is usually called a cosmic drama or cosmic cycle, which is very perfectly illustrated by the swastika symbol, in which there are quadrants for the episodes of Chess Yuga. The name on each plot describes the representations of life, namely Quadrant 1 indicating a state where there is an atmosphere of happiness and no sadness, where Dharma was highly respected in the Krita Yuga era. This is the original Dharmic, which was recorded perfectly in Bali. The swastika as a symbol of Balinese religion also has the meaning of a world cycle which is guarded by the manifestation of God's omnipotence in the 8 cardinal directions, Estadala, and centered on Shiva at the midpoint. The 9 manifestations of God's omnipotence were then called Dewata Nawasanga. The swastika is a sacred symbol of Balinese religion, which is the basis for the strength and well-being of Buana Aging or macrocosmos and Buana Alit or microcosmos. Swastika as a symbol of salvation, happiness and prosperity of the entire universe. Swastion is more meaningful as absorption or release. The direction to the right is more on the release, spread of the energy of safety, happiness and well-being, more macrocosmic and microcosmic in nature, namely Panka Yadnya and Panka Maha Yadnya. Meanwhile, on the back, swastika to the left, is a symbol of absorption, more microcosmic, Panka Srata. Original Dharmic symbol swastika. The meaning of the swastika symbol is chess dharma, namely 4 types of duties that we should devote to dharma for both personal and public interests, safe, happy and prosperous, namely 1. Dharma kriya equals carrying out swadharma diligently and with a full sense of responsibility. 2. Dharma santosa equals trying to find inner and outer peace within oneself. 3. Dharma jati equals the task that must be carried out to ensure the welfare and tranquility of the family and also for the public. 4. Dharma putus equals carrying out obligations with full sincerity of sacrifice and a sense of responsibility for the realization of social justice for mankind. The deeper meaning is the four purposes of life, namely Purusartha chess, citizen chess, Dharma, Kama, Artha, Moksha. 1. Dharma equals obligation, truth, law, religion, regulation, nature. 2. Artha equals property, material. 3. Kama equals pleasure, lust. 4. Moksha equals eternal freedom. Buddha took a swastika to show Arya's identity. In Buddhism, the swastika is a symbol of good fortune, prosperity, abundance, and eternity. It is directly related to Buddha and can be found engraved on Buddha statues on the soles of his feet and chest. It is said that it contains Buddha's mind. Buddhist swastika to the left because Buddhist teachings emphasize the absorption of the values of salvation, happiness and prosperity. And the red color is retained as a Dharma value. This is the original Dharmak, which was created by His Excellency Siddhartha Gautama. Of course, the strength of the swastika color also influences the process of release or absorption. White power, red power, yellow color strength, black power. While the strength of the 5 colors of the axis is manifested in the color of gold metal or rubies. This power is also in accordance with the power of his gods. A complete and powerful swastika is one that has 4 dots in the middle of each curve, plus 2 lines each to the left and right of the swastika that represent Dharma and Adharma, equally. And the axis is the symbol of Shiva. The swastika was adopted by Christianity. The beginning of the symbol is one of the constellations used to mark the sky in the south since the early days of human civilization. Then by the ancients who worshipped the star, the cross was used as a symbol for their gods. When the swastika symbol was finally used as the cross, Christians were reluctant to see the image of a man hanging on the cross. This had never been done by the Christian Church before the 7th century. In fact, the cross with a person hanging on it was entered by the Romans from India centuries before Christian times. What do historians say about the use of the swastika as a cross? Walker said, the early Christians even rejected the cross because it was in pagan. The early Jesus statues do not depict him on the cross, but in the guise of the Good Shepherd, carrying the sheep. Acharya, the Christ conspiracy. Churchward said, basically the cross is an astronomical sign. A cross with equal arms shows the times of day and night of equal length, and is a sign of the equinox. The southern constellation of the ancient swastika relief found in India. Meanwhile, Derek Patridge stated, what the cross with the circle in it shows is actually the sun shrinking or dying in the zodiac, and not people. The Encyclopedia of Funk and Wagnalls mentions that the sign of the cross was used as a symbol before Christian times. In Italy, where Rome is located, which was one of the earliest centers for the spread of Christianity, there is a cross as a relic from prehistoric times. Pre-Christian Celtic crosses found on the banks of the Shannon River in Ireland are found with relief images of earth gods and forest spirits. Mosaic swastika excavated at Byzantine Greyjaw in Shaveh Zion, Israel. Swastika symbol carved on the stone window in Lalibela Church, Ethiopia. On the walls of the Christian catacombs in Rome, the swastika symbol appears next to the words Zodiko, which means life from life. This symbol can also be found on the window openings of the mysterious Lalibela Badu Church in Ethiopia, and in other churches around the world. The Celtic swastika symbol, which is said to be the cross, has existed in Europe since 1200 BC. The swastika symbol on the walls of ancient buildings in Europe. Swastikas in various nations. This symbol, known by various names such as the Tetragrammaton in Greece or the Philpot in England, occupies an important position in the beliefs and cultures of ancient nations, such as the Trojans, Hittites, Celts and Teutonics. This symbol can be found in Hindu, Jaina and Buddhist temples as well as Christian churches, Church of Saint Sophia in Kiev, Ukraine, Basilica of Saint Ambrose, Milan, and Cathedral of Amiens, France, Islamic mosques, in Isfahan, Iran and Tainal Mosque, Lebanon, and Ein Gedi's Jewish synagogue in Judea. The oldest swastikas ever found are those found in Mezin, Ukraine, carved into an ivory statue, which is about 12,000 years old, and one of the earliest known cultures to have used the swastika was the Neolithic culture of southern Europe, in what is now Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, known as the Vinca culture, which is dated back about 8,000 years. The swastika has origins in Europe even further than one might think. Archaeologists found the swastika to be a very ancient symbol, not limited to India. Relief of ancient swastika in Europe. The same emblem was used by ancient Greeks, Celts, Anglo-Saxons, and is found in a number of artifacts from ancient times in Eastern Europe, from the Baltic to the Balkans. If you want to see how deeply rooted the swastika pattern has become in Europe, the best place to see it is in Kiev, Ukraine, where the National Museum of the History of Ukraine exhibits it. One of the treasures on display there is a female bird figure made of mammoth, ancient elephant, tusks found in 1908 in the Paleolithic settlement of Mezin, near the border with Russia. The Samara site is located about 60 kilometers north of modern Baghdad. On the lower left is a plate with 4 women forming the swastika, dating from the Sumerian era, 5th millennium BC. On the lower right is the bowl, 5000 BC. Kachkar with swastika Sanahin, Armenian swastika in ivory artifact 12,000 years old. In the Middle East there are examples such as the golden raidan and the beautiful gold necklace of the swastika found in northern Iran, dating back 5,000 years. The Anasazi people, who built dwellings in caves and niches in canyon walls across the southwestern United States from 1500 BC to 1350 AD, left many red-haired Caucasoid mummies with swastika artifacts, and even had a site called "mummy cave," but any further study of their remains is prohibited. Anasazi is a Navajo word meaning ancient foreigner, ancestral enemy, or ancient enemy. The Navajo Indians began to occupy the area as early as 1700, and also use the swastika emblem. Swastika 5,000-year-old BC in Samara, Iraq. Swastika symbol on golden raidan and ancient gold necklace on northern Iraq site. Anasazi in America in 1940. 4 tribes of Arizona Indians, Navajo, Papagos, Apache, and Hopi, prohibited the use of their ancient traditional swastika symbol on all their craft designs. The Aztecs and ancient Maya civilization used the swastika symbol on burial mounds, clothing and jewelry. The swastika was also used by the Phoenicians as a symbol of the sun and also as a sacred symbol used by priests. In Nordic myth, Odin is depicted crossing the universe as a spinning disk or swastika looking down at all the worlds. In ancient Greece, Pythagoras used the swastika with the name tetractyos, and it is a symbol connecting heaven and earth, with the right arm pointing to heaven and the left arm pointing to earth. Phoenician priest robes in Scotland. Swastikas were known throughout the ancient world. Experts say that in the ancient world, this swastika represented the 4 elements earth, air, water and fire, which were seen as the source of the creation of all things. These elements are seen as eternal, so that everything that is created from them will never disappear, even if they change and change. The 4 elements earth, air, water, and fire in the cultural community of the archipelago are familiar. Almost every native culture of the archipelago proves that the original civilization of the archipelago was the civilization that colored the world. Note the symbol of the Star of David Solomon, which Israel uses as a symbol of the flag that has existed in stone carvings in the archipelago. The swastika is also used as a sign, in the form of an image, on holy food or containers containing religious holy water. The use of this cross was found among the Assyrians, Babylonians, ancient Persians, and even on the American continent. The Encyclopedia of Funk and Wagnall says, this shape or model is one of the earliest well-known symbols that have been made by man, and one of the most pervasive symbols among primitive peoples. This symbol was found on all continents apart from Australia, and was the symbol of the sun god, from Apollo, Roman, Odin, Viking, to Quetzalcoatl, Aztec. This symbol still survives as a religious symbol in India among Buddhists and Jains, as well as in China and Japan, as well as among Indian tribes in North America who still continue the practice of shamanism and shamanic medicine. Quote. In the Encyclopedia Britannica, Professor Shepherd wrote, the shapes of the cross have been used symbolically, religious or otherwise, long before the Common Era, in almost all parts of the world. 2 forms of the pre-Christian cross have become fashionable in Christianity. The Egyptian hieroglyphic symbol of life, Ankh cross, Tau cross with a circle on it, is adopted and is widely used on Coptic Christian monuments. The swastika cross, crux gammata, which consists of 4 gamma letters. Silver swastika coins found in the Greek Corinth. Etruscan pendants with the symbol of the swastika found on ancient sites in Greek capital Italy, are marked on many early Christian gravestones as a disguised symbol. This symbol was widespread before Christian times in Europe, Asia, and America and is generally considered to represent the sun or fire. That's where the meaning of the source of life comes from. Quote, "In some places in the world, the tip of the bend on the swastika is given a picture of the sole of the foot which indicates the motion of walking. In other places, some have drawn the tip of the swastika with a bird image depicting the motion of the sun flying through the sky. Or the image of a fish, which suggests the sun diving in the sea beneath the Earth's surface after sinking at night and before rising again the next day. However, the swastika is a symbol of the sun god. Since the sun is only one for the whole world, naturally everywhere in this world, if they worship the sun god, then its symbol and belief will be similar. The swastika was and still is representing things that are noble and sacred, especially for Hindus, Jainas, Buddhists, followers of the Gallic Roman faith, whose main altar is decorated with lightning, swastikas and wheels. Adherents of ancient Celtic beliefs, the swastika symbolizes the goddess P. Bridget. Adherents of the ancient Slavic beliefs, the swastika symbolizes the sun god Shvarog, as well as for people Hopi and Navajo Indians, who use the symbol in healing rituals. Athena's robe as well as the body of Apollo, the Greek god and goddess, were also often adorned with this symbol. Equations of the Celtic sun god with the Aztec sun god with the modified Armenian alphabet swastika. Quote, Armenian alphabet is not only modified swastika but also there is secret information and sacred, civilized, scientific knowledge, sacerdotal knowledge about stars, constellations, longitude and latitude, galaxy, the model of galaxy creation. It is proved by the fact that 1, with 36 signs letters, can express the numbers from 1 to 10,000, without using any other signs. That is the ideal comparison of system of 6, which was common to the Armenian highland, 60 minutes, 360 degrees, and the system of 10, division of sky into 3*12. Quote, according to the research by Armen Davtyan and according to the research done by Vahan Sarkisyan, as explained above, the Armenian letter is also a modification of the swastika symbol. On the bird's chest is engraved an intricate pattern of combined swastikas. It is the oldest identified swastika symbol in the world. Radiocarbon tests show that it is about 15,000 years old. The bird artifact was found along with a number of phallus objects, which supports the idea that the swastika pattern was used as a symbol of fertility. In 1965, paleontologist Valentina Bibikova discovered that the bird's swastikas closely resemble the natural patterns seen in ivory. Allegedly, the artifact makers were simply imitating what they saw in nature. The single swastika began to appear in the Neolithic Vinca culture in southeastern Europe some 7,000 years ago. But in the Bronze Age, the emblem spread throughout Europe. One of the collections of the Kiev Museum is a clay vessel from 4,000 years ago with a swastika symbol engraved on the top. When the Nazis occupied Kiev in World War II, they believed the pot belonged to their ancestors, the Aryans, and took it to Germany, then returned to Ukraine after the war. The swastika is also found in ancient Greek culture, used in tiles and textiles. People at that time used a single swastika motif to decorate pottery and vases. Swastika on a comb bird artifact with the swastika insignia found on the Danish Nidam Mose. The same emblem is also found on fragile textile fragments from the 12th century AD, believed to be a dress of a Slavic princess, embroidered with gold thread to repel reinforcements. The swastika became a popular embroidery motif in Eastern Europe and Russia until World War II broke out. A Russian writer named Pavel Kudenkov identified 200 variations of motifs throughout the region. Regardless, the Hakenkreuz remains a terrifying symbol. What's more, in 1941, Kiev became the site of one of the worst mass murder of the Nazis. At that time, nearly 34,000 Jews were arrested and killed on the brink of Babi Yar. In Western Europe, the use of the swastika as part of ancient culture can be found in many places, one of which is a stone from the Bronze Age at Ilkley Moor in Yorkshire, England. On the other hand, The swastika also occupies a secular position as merely an architectural decoration motif as well as a symbol of business entities, ranging from beer companies to laundry. The first Westerners to travel to Asia were inspired by the positive side and its connection to ancient culture, and started using it at home. In the early 20th century, there was a trend to use the swastika as a symbol of good luck. Ancient Roman ceramic mosaic found at the site in the area of La Omelda, Spain helm with the swastika belonging to the Toronto troops in his book, The Swastika, Symbol Beyond Redemption. Graphic design writer Stephen Heller said, Western people at that time enthusiastically used it as an architectural motif, in advertisements, advertising, even product design. Coca-Cola uses it. Also Carlsberg on the beer bottle. Even with Boy Scouts, scouting organizations like Scouts, the Girls Club of America even named its magazine, Swastika. They even sent swastika badges to young readers as gifts. Stephen Heller. As published by the BBC. The swastika emblem was also used by U.S. military units during World War II. It could also be seen on Royal Air Force RAF planes until 1939. The symbol was used less and less in the 1930s when the Nazis came to power in Germany. The Girls Club magazine uses the swastika symbol for Coca-Cola advertising in the form of a swastika. Swastikas on RAF swastika fighters can also be seen from space. Try to see it from the Google map with the coordinates 32 degrees 40 minutes 34.19 seconds north, 117 degrees 9 minutes 27.58 seconds west. It's the swastika-shaped building. This is a controversial building ever made in America. This building is in the shape of the swastika logo. In fact, the swastika was once a symbol of an unbearable cruelty when Hitler used it as a representative of the superiority of the Aryan nation. Millions of Jews died at the hands of the soldiers who proudly wore the swastika, which is sinistrover, tilted to the left about 45 degrees, on their arms. The head of the party branch, Gauleiter, of the NSDAP was able to pin this when he met in the province of Thuringia in 1935 to celebrate the meeting's 10th anniversary. The inscription on the left eagle's wing NSDAP 1925. The NSDAP is the party of Adolf Hitler, which stands for the swastika emblem on the American military building in Coronado. The swastika on the Microsoft logo is the swastika on the party symbol. Nationalsozialistische Arbeiterpartei Deutschland, and 1925 the year of the first meeting. The inscription on the right wing, Thuringen 1935. Thuringen, Thuringia, is a province in Germany, while 1935 is the 10th meeting year. In the middle of the eagle, a symbol of the German state, as in Indonesia the Garuda, is the swastika, a symbol that Hitler took from the inverted Hindu religion to become the symbol of his party, and the standing lion, that is the flag of Thuringia. Swastika as a symbol of Lord Ganesha, Shiva's elephant-faced son, as the meaning of Dharma chess. Krishna said to Arjuna on the battlefield, when Arjuna had to fight against his own brother, this was wrongly interpreted by Hitler, namely, do whatever you have to do as long as it is your duty. You have to do your job well even if it means killing, for good, because doing your job well is a form of devotion to God. Hitler was probably interested in the meaning of the swastika, so he took the swastika emblem and turned it over, so he could kill without guilt. Because he thinks what he is doing is what is right. He took refuge under the swastika whose direction was reversed, which was supposed to mean Dharma chess. Swastika is a plus sign which in Balinese is known as dara, where in mathematics plus means addition or increase, which is positive in this case, especially happiness. The edges of the plus sign have a clockwise length that turns into a curved shape. This gives the impression of the swastika wheel. Then four points are added at the intersection of the four corners. Literature states that the 4 points represent the 4 directional directions. Swastika symbol of technological progress. The 4-point swastika can also be explained in another way. The swastika is the suggestion of a wheel which is actually an original invention that spins the entire spectrum of industrial progress. Besides, the swastika is the best symbol for speed. All present progress and prosperity is a byproduct of the wheel. The first complex machine man-made was a clock or watch. Meaning of the Tapak Dara symbol plus. Tapak Dara, or often called Tampak Dara or Tatarek, is a common symbol used in Bali, where the simple symbol of the swastika is depicted with a plus sign, usually written in raw lime or in Balinese called pamer, limestone, so that the color becomes white. Tapak Dara is a symbol of the unity of the dualitas of life Rabinata. This cross symbol in Bali is known as the sign Tapak Dara, plus sign plus, in India it is called Satya. The image of Tapak Dara in Bali is usually used to deny distress or give calm to someone after something surprising has happened. Tapak Dara is usually used when carrying out a religious ceremony and is also attached or written on the house, etched on several pillars of the house with pamer. Of course, when the Pemlaspas ceremony, the ritual of submitting for a newly built house, is held. The sign of Tapak Dara plus is often used as traditional medicine, Ayurveda, where this sign is etched with pamer, a type of chalk accompanied by mantra placed on the palms of the patient's hands and on the soles of the patient's feet, especially babies or children. Also attached to a mother who is breastfeeding, is surprised by something, usually a painting of a virgin's tread from charcoal, whiting on her milk and her child, between the forehead means, is to reject harm or something negative. We also find this sign in kekab, rice cooking cover, which also functions to reject negative things. In Kulkul Kentongan Tetampug, fittings for the Butha Yadnya ceremony, Makaru, and other places that are considered important. Therefore this sign is known as Tapak Dara, Tampak Dara. Meaning of the Tapak Dara symbol plus. The Virgin's tread symbolizes the path of the sun. In ancient times the sun was considered the highest god, which in Bali is called Sang Hyang Siwa Raditya. In full, the next development, from the symbol of Tapak Dara to become the swastika, which is the basis for the strength and welfare of Buana Aging, macrocosmos, and Buana Elit microcosmos. The Tapak Dara sign symbolizing the path of the sun is the basic framework for the swastika sign. The swastika is developed from a sign plus, which at the ends are given a short horizontal line. This swastika sign is also a symbol of the way of the sun. Swastika, which has been used as a symbol of Balinese religion, means safe or prosperous. For people in Bali, swastika philosophy has a very deep religious meaning, namely as a symbol of eternal motion, which emerges from the apparent movement of the sun from east to west. This motion of the sun is visible because the earth rotates on its axis from left to right, Pradaksina, then evolves around the sun from west to east, so that the sun is seen moving from east to west. The swastika as a symbol of Balinese religion also has the meaning of a world cycle which is guarded by the manifestation of God's omnipotence in the 8 cardinal directions, Esthadala, and centered on Shiva at the midpoint. The 9 manifestations of God's omnipotence were then called Dewata Nawasanga. The swastika also symbolizes science, which is always dynamic and experiencing renewal. Therefore the swastika symbol also means restoring balance, creating stability both within oneself and in the surrounding environment. Swastika, this cross line, in Bali is called Tapak Dara, whose mythology is contained in the Lontar Katar Bhumi. It is called a pigeon because the pigeon's feet or dove exactly resemble the shape of the cross. In ancient times, the cross line on the Virgin's palm was used as an antidote to calamities. Tatarek Tapak Dara shaped straight. The development of Tapak Dara in Bali. Straight lines in the form of the material used. Like thick white chalk. The initial form is a point that moves freely in the form of a straight line horizontally, perpendicular or transversely. Symbol of an unhindered progress toward a definite end. The ultimate goal for sure is pralaya. Implicit in the Vishnu Purana literature, there are 2 types of pralayas, namely Athayatika pralaya and Naimatika pralaya. Athayatika pralaya symbolized by the white color is the destruction of 3 types of human suffering, namely 1. Adhyatmika, ignorance. 2. Adidivaka, physical suffering in the form of feeling hot or cold, and 3. Adibhautika, mental suffering. Athayatika pralaya was awarded by Ida Sanghyang Widi in an effort to guide and save mankind to avoid these sufferings. Naimatika pralaya is the beginning of a new life, where people who are always devoted to him will be saved by the avatara. The avatara who will come as the 10th one, known as Kalki avatara, dressed all in white and riding a white horse. In the holy book of Brahaspati and Veda Parikrama, it is stated that there are 8 omnipotence Ida Sanghyang Widi Wasa who is called Asta Aiswarya, namely 1. Anima equals very subtle. 2. Lagima equals very light. 3. Mahima equals very large. 4. Prapti equals can reach all places. 5. Isatva equals above all. 6. Prakamya equals absolute will. 7. Vasatva equals very powerful. 8. Kamavasayadva equals natural, immutable. Asta Aisvarya that can be witnessed every day, for example, the rising and setting of the sun, the full moon Tilam, the eclipse of the sun, moon, changes in the position of the stars, the wind that blows, the sea waves, human animal plant life. Asta Aisvarya who comes from time to time, for example, earthquakes, tsunamis, typhoons. Asta Aisvarya also means a warning to mankind about their sins which must be balanced with awareness, dharma, and the practice of religious teachings in everyday life. Asta Aisvarya can sometimes be a punishment for mankind, because they are not devoted to him. The topic Dara symbol has existed since ancient times, used in religious life in the form of Balinese culture. This symbol is used regularly and also incidentally. In every Sasi Ka Enam, there is generally an epidemic called dry, sasab and languishing. Drying is a plague that afflicts humans. Sasab is a plague that afflicts livestock, while languishing is a plague that afflicts plants. Before the outbreak, people in Bali generally wore the topic Dara symbol at the entrance to their respective homes. In addition to the symbol of topic Dara is also accompanied prickly pandan leaves called pandan wong accompanied by tri-dhatu thread, namely red, black and white threads wrapped together. The topic Dara symbol is also used in traditional medicine. The sign of topic Dara from whiting is often scratched by Balian on the part of the body that has felt pain in medicine as a means of traditional medicine. Traditional symbols actually carry universal meanings. It is called topic Dara because its shape resembles the footprint of a pigeon or a dove. This symbolizes the swastika symbol in a distinctive form of culture in Bali. In Balinese teaching, nature and its contents process in 3 stages, namely Srsti, swastika and pralaya. The natural process is called Srsti, meaning that a new natural state is in the process of being created. The swastika process means that natural processes are in a stable state all in balance. The pralaya process is the natural process of returning the pralina to its source, namely to the creator. So topic Dara is a symbol of balance. This teaching is called Tri-Hita Karana, Tri equals 3, Hita equals prosperous, Karana equals cause. In essence, Tri-Hita Karana means that the 3 causes of welfare are rooted in the harmonious relationship between 1. Man with God Parayangan. 2. Humans and their natural environment Palamahan. 3. Humans with each other Pawangan. Tri-Para Artha. 1. Asi, meaning we love and cherish everything in this world that is in the middle and lower realms. 2. Punya, means that we carry out all kinds of acts of service to fellow humans and everything in nature and also with God on the basis of the first point, ASIH, for example, such as we carry out our obligations as students, namely to study well and carry out our brahmachari level as well as possible, also carry out our obligations as parents, husband, wife, employees, business owners, officials properly and based on dharma and asi. Apart from that we also carry out our duty as bhakta to always devote yourself to God. 3. Bhakti, which means we always strengthen our shraddha and devotion with ida sang hyang widiwasa based on compassion and actions of punya. So the 3 elements of the Tri-Para Artha are interrelated with each other, in order to create harmony in life. These 3 ways of religion must be carried out in a balanced manner. Thus the symbol of topic Dara means vertically, upward as a symbol of devotion to God, below the form of compassion for all living beings. Meanwhile, a horizontal cross means a form of mutual dedication to others. The emergence of topic Dara in Bali seems to remind the Balinese to reinforce the meaning of this symbol in life. The use of the topic Dara symbol with pandan wong and tri-dhatu thread is fading in Bali. Their symbolic use may fade a little, but what cannot be faded is interpreting these values in everyday behavior. The use of lime in Balinese tradition also has universal value. If the Balinese people melispas the house, for example, the supporting pillars of the roof frame called tuge are smeared with whiting, charcoal and red chicken blood. This is the Uriper's symbol. So the rubbing of whiting is also meaningful to motivate the people to be more dynamic in life towards a better and right one. The use of pandan wong in Balinese mythology is a symbol of weapon to defeat violent qualities. Pandan is a symbol of weapon and wong means human. So what is best used to defeat negative traits in society are human values, not giant values of violence. The tri-dhatu thread symbol of the combination of red, black and white threads that accompanies pandan wong also has a universal meaning. The tri-dhatu thread symbolizes the balanced life process of creating, maintaining and eliminating anything that should be created, maintained and eliminated. It seems that this traditional understanding is what Balinese people use in responding to the appearance of topic Dara marks on various shrines in Bali. The incident should be faced as a fact that is happening and cannot be denied. Accept it as a symptom of the times. Some examples of point 2 punya have been described, but ritualistically we can listen to examples of its application, including 1. The relationship between man and his god Parayangan Bhakta, which is manifested by Dewa Yajna. 2. Human relations with the natural environment Palamahana C, manifested by Buddha Yajna. 3. The relationship between humans and each other Pawangan Punya, is manifested by Pitra, Rishi, Yajna human. God gave us the task of balancing the three elements. If there is an imbalance between the lower, middle or upper realms there will be several impacts which are usually real. We can see it directly like this. Great placement. The application of the swastika concept in the concept of residential space in Bali can be seen in the form of a crossroad or a great placement Kataspatha in the center of the settlement. The concept of the great placement is an expression of the cross space pattern of the road axis, as a cross between the Earth's axis and the Sun's axis, and can be analogous to plus or topic Dara, which is the basic framework for the swastika sign. Then, in each corner of Pempadan Aging, a parcel of land, Koralpur, is provided, which functions as a building-free green open space. The ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro, 2500 BC, in India also has a city planning concept centered at the crossroads of the east-west and north-south road axes. This pattern is called a chasmuka, which is the same as the concept of the Pempadan Aging in Bali. The grid patterns in the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro are regular patterns and are associated with sacred diagrams full of symbolic meaning. Apart from the facade pattern, the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro also has a Karvata circle pattern. The town of Mohenjo-Daro has demonstrated organized urban planning, employing a rudimentary grid pattern, like a chessboard. Because the concept of the Pempadan Aging settlement in Bali is identical to the crossing of the Earth's axis with the Sun's axis, which is analogous to the center of the universe, cosmos, according to Balinese belief, rituals can be carried out at the center of Pempadan Aging to maintain the balance of the cosmos. The center point of the great placement can also be likened to the coordinate center of the cosmos, which has a 0 or 0 value pralina, which means supremely perfect. That is why, it is said, at the center of the great placement, negative things will become neutral. In the space concept, 0 is not empty. Empty is like a coconut, empty but contains contents, Nyuh Puying Sugi. Or in architectural concepts, such as, Manik Ryong Sikapu, the contents and the contents of the container are the main thing, even though they are not visible. This concept of space has the same meaning of, being and not, as the concept of God. Thus, the empty value also means very perfect. Cleansing of nature, since Pempadan Aging is identical with the intersection of the Earth's axis with the Sun's axis, which is analogous to the center of rotation of the universe, cosmos, according to Balinese belief, rituals can be performed to maintain the balance of the cosmos. One of the series of ceremonies leading up to the Nippi Day is the Tawur Kesinga ceremony, which is held at Pempadan Aging. This ceremony is classified as a Buddha Yajna ceremony, which is a ritual sacrifice for beings that are lower in rank than humans. This is done so that these creatures do not interfere with the harmony of life, do not cause calamities, and do not interfere with the preservation of nature, so that life becomes harmonious and balanced. This ceremony is held the day before Nippi, carried out in stages from the state, region or village, banjar and household levels. For Easterners, especially Balinese people, March is still celebrated as the implementation of the new year. March is an important and holy month, because in this month the sun is right at the equator and starts moving to the northern hemisphere, Uttarayana, until June 22 at 23.5 degrees latitude. During this time of the movement of the sun to the northern hemisphere, according to Balinese beliefs, it is a good day for the implementation of various religious ceremonies and purification. Furthermore, the sun will return to the equator in September and move again to the southern hemisphere, Dakshinayana, until December 22 at 22.5 degrees latitude. When the sun returns to the equator, Balinese people celebrate Nyepi Day as New Year. People in Bali start their new year by not doing various activities because life must start from zero. The day before, people in Bali held a series of ceremonies to clean the universe, Memory Sudagumi, in residential centers to their homes. This is done so that life on earth becomes harmonious and balanced, free from evil, free from calamities and chaos, so that mankind becomes prosperous. Tadarek topic Dara Puta can be interpreted as Asta Aisvarya, where Ida Sanghyang Widi Wasa always loves his people by providing guidance towards good positive things. Thus, at a glance, the meaning of the topic Dara plus symbol where in terms of symbolic form, the topic Dara seems to be very local. However, behind this symbol there is a universal meaning which explains that Balinese culture is a culture that still keeps records of the noble ancestors of humans and the first civilizations on Earth. That is the original teaching of the ancestors of the ancient Indonesian archipelago. Original Dharmak, which in the past was studied in Swarnadvipa, Sumatra, Indonesia, brought by the Saka or Arya to 3/4 of the Earth's face, is marked by the spread of the swastika symbol and underlies the birth of teachings in India, Buddha, Hindu and Jaina, which was depicted in Borobudur and until now is perfectly preserved in Bali. Bali is not India. The teachings recorded in Bali are the basis for the birth of teachings in India. Done by Santo Saba.
You